Sheng Xiao, you could feel every nerve in his body screaming. For so long, he had fought against his own desires, telling himself he would never submit, never allow himself to be vulnerable in that way again. But Hua Yong was different. He had always been different. He was not just the man who had manipulated him, deceived him, and played every card in the game of his heart. He was the man who had saved him, marked him, claimed him in a way no one else ever could. Every time Sheng thought of the past, the lies, the schemes, the nights of humiliation, he felt a bitter taste in his mouth, a reminder that love and suffering often walked hand in hand. And yet now, with Hua Yong standing in front of him, calm, confident, and impossibly in control, Sheng could feel himself unraveling. Hua Yong's gaze was steady, intense, and almost cruel in its insistence. He had waited years for this moment, had plotted every step, every word, every touch to bring Sheng to a place where he could finally surrender fully. Sheng's pride flared, resisting, even as his body betrayed him. He had always believed he could control his own desires, that he could never be the one to let someone dominate him. And yet here, in this room filled with the soft hum of the night, he realized that resisting Hua Yong was no longer an option. The enigma had taken control long before this night, and now Sheng's body, his mind, the tension was almost unbearable. Hua Yong approached slowly, his hands trailing along Sheng's arms with a touch that burned and soothed at the same time. "You fought me for so long," Hua Yong whispered, his voice low and magnetic. "But you were never really resisting. You've wanted this, haven't you? You just didn't know how to admit it." Sheng swallowed hard, his chest tightening. Every word cut through him. Every glance made his pulse race. He could not deny it, even to himself. Despite the fear, despite the memories of lies and betrayal, his body was already answering Hua Yong's claims. As Hua Yong drew closer, Sheng's mind raced with a mixture of guilt and longing. He had loved Hua Yong for years, yet the path had been twisted, cruel, and filled with obstacles no one else could understand. He had known the truth about Hua Yong's identity as an enigma, known that he had been manipulating him, and yet he could not stop the ache in his chest, the heat in his body, or the desire to finally submit to the man who had claimed him. Hua Yong's touch was relentless, skilled, knowing exactly how to push Sheng's boundaries without breaking him, guiding him toward a place he had never allowed himself to explore before. The room was silent except for the soft sounds of movement and Sheng's ragged breaths. Hua Yong's hands explored with patience and purpose, and Sheng felt every nerve in his body come alive under his touch. It was a sensation he had never experienced before, a mixture of pleasure and fear, of surrender and control, of longing and relief. His body trembled, muscles tightening as he tried to resist, only to find that resistance made the sensations even more intense. Hua Yong had always known him better than anyone, had always understood the subtle cues of his body, the faintest shift in expression, the smallest tremor of breath. And now, as he guided Sheng to a place of vulnerability, Sheng realized that he had never truly been free. He had only been waiting for the right person to unlock him. The night stretched on, filled with a tension that was both unbearable and intoxicating. Sheng's pride as an alpha fought against his body's reactions, but every touch, every whisper, every controlled motion from Hua Yong pushed him closer to surrender. He felt his walls breaking down, piece by piece, until there was nothing left but the raw, unfiltered sensation of being claimed. Hua Yong's dominance was not cruel. It was deliberate, precise, and perfectly timed to bring Sheng to the edge without shattering him. Sheng's breaths came faster, shallow and ragged, as his mind spun with the realization that he was no longer in control, and that he did not want to be. In that moment, Sheng understood the depth of his feelings. He had loved Hua Yong through every lie, every betrayal, every scheme, even when he hated him for it. He had fought against desire, against the memories of passion and pain, and yet now, finally, he could not resist. There was a sweetness in submission, a freedom in letting go that Sheng had never experienced before. Hua Yong had not only claimed his body, but his trust, his heart, and the deepest parts of his soul. And for the first time, Sheng allowed himself to enjoy it fully, without shame, without guilt, without fear. The night was endless, a blur of sensation, emotion, and revelation. Hua Yong's patience and skill guided Sheng through every moment, every sensation heightened by years of anticipation, by every unspoken word and stolen glance from the past. Sheng's world narrowed to the sound of Hua Yong's voice, the warmth of his touch, the intensity of his gaze. He had surrendered before, but this was different. This was full, complete, and irreversible. In that darkness, Sheng realized he had finally found a place where he belonged, where he could be vulnerable and loved at the same time. By the time dawn approached, Sheng lay in Hua Yong's arms, his body spent, trembling with the aftershocks of surrender and pleasure. His heart raced, still not entirely believing that he had allowed himself to reach this point. And yet, as he felt Hua Yong's steady heartbeat against his chest, as he listened to the soft, soothing whispers, he knew that there was no turning back. He had finally embraced the man who had claimed him, finally allowed himself to explore a side he had hidden even from himself, and finally discovered the depth of love that had been waiting for him all along. Morning light filtered softly through the curtains, casting a gentle glow on Sheng Xiaoyu as he stirred in Hua Yong's arms. He had spent the night surrendering fully, exploring feelings and sensations he had always feared. His mind raced, filled with conflicting emotions, shame, relief, awe, and a strange, overwhelming gratitude. He had finally allowed himself to let go, to trust Hua Yong completely, and in doing so, he discovered a depth of connection and pleasure he never imagined. Hua Yong had claimed him not only physically but emotionally, guiding him into a world where desire, love, and vulnerability intertwined seamlessly. Hua Yong's gaze, calm yet intense, met his, and Sheng felt a shiver run through him. The man before him was the same enigma who had manipulated and deceived him for years, yet also the one who had saved him, marked him, and loved him in ways Sheng had never thought possible. The paradox of Hua Yong's nature was almost unbearable, dangerous and tender, manipulative and devoted, psycho and profoundly loving. And yet, despite knowing all this, Sheng could not resist. His heart ached with love, his body still trembled with need, and his mind struggled to reconcile everything he felt. Hua Yong reached out, his fingers tracing the contours of Sheng's face with a tenderness that contrasted sharply with the power he always wielded. "You've come so far," Hua Yong whispered, his voice low and magnetic. "You fought against desire, against everything you thought you wanted, and yet here you are, letting yourself feel, letting yourself be mine completely." Sheng swallowed hard, unable to speak. Words felt impossible when emotions overwhelmed him so completely. Hua Yong's presence was intoxicating, and even after surrendering the night before, Sheng felt the pull of his touch anew. Each caress a reminder that he belonged to this man in ways he had never belonged to anyone else. The memories of past manipulation flashed in his mind. The lies, the staged assaults, the cruel letter, the schemes involving his father's cure, but they were now inseparable from the memories of passion, care, and intensity. Hua Yong had been a psycho, yes, but he had also been the only one to understand Sheng completely, to see every fear, every desire, every hidden longing. The revelation was both terrifying and liberating. Sheng realized that true surrender was not only physical, it was emotional, mental, and spiritual. He had trusted Hua Yong with his life before, but now he was trusting him with his heart in a way that was permanent and undeniable. Hua Yong leaned closer, his lips brushing Sheng's temple. "I've waited 15 years for this, Sheng. 15 years for you to see me as I truly am, for you to let yourself experience everything you've been denying. And now you're finally here, finally letting go, and it is beautiful." Sheng's breath hitched. He had never heard Hua Yong speak so openly, so vulnerably, and yet with all the power of the enigma he was. The words, the tone, the unyielding confidence, it was a perfect storm, pulling Sheng deeper into surrender and trust. As the day progressed, Sheng felt a new kind of intimacy blossoming between them. It was no longer just about desire or heat or claiming. It was about connection, about understanding the intricate layers of each other's souls. Hua Yong's hands were gentle yet commanding, his touch precise, knowing exactly where Sheng needed guidance and where to push him further. Sheng had never felt this balance before, between control and care, dominance and love, and it left him trembling, both in body and heart. The night returned, darker and more intense than before. Sheng, now more attuned to his own desires, allowed Hua Yong to guide him further into the role he had once feared. He surrendered without hesitation, trusting Hua Yong completely, letting go of pride and control in a way that was both liberating and intoxicating. Each touch, each whisper, each look from Hua Yong reinforced the bond they shared, a bond forged in manipulation, danger, survival, and ultimately love.